Is where you need to go for all your home improvement projects and hardware needs. They've been serving folks in this area since 1946. Murphy's offers some products and services that you may not know about. They now sell ammunition, both bullets and shells. Murphy's also sells personalized tags for dog collars. They build customized screens for windows and doors. Murphy's can rekey locks, and of course they can make keys. They cut glass for windows, plus Murphy's has monthly doorbuster specials. Check their Facebook page to see what's on sale. Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup.
Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings restaurant in Jessup is now open for business, practicing social distancing, but still serving that great food that Damon's is famous for. Come inside or come through the drive-thru, but Damon's is open inside and welcomes back its customers. The menu's the same, the service is fast, and the food is fantastic, and the sauces remain the same, mild, wild, insane, or inferno. The number is the same, 588-WING, 588-9464. Damon's Restaurant on West Cherry Street in Jessup. Dining room now open for business. Come on in and enjoy a great meal today.
A bank that puts people first. First Southern Bank, investing in you since 1907. Serving Jessup, Patterson, and Waycross. A true community bank led by experienced neighborhood bankers that live and work in our community. Offering competitive loan options for commercial and consumer clients. Stop by the Jessup branch and meet branch manager Mandy Yeomans and her fantastic team. Call 912-810-1540. Let First Southern Bank be your bank of choice. First Southern Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
8 o'clock here at the Big Dog WYFO. Early voting starts on Monday, Bob.
Yes, it does.
Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, First Southern Bank, and Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings. Forgot to do that. But early voting does begin Monday.
Monday, July 20th, all the way up to Friday, August the 7th, 3-week period. Office hours 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to Wayne County Courthouse. The Registrar's office remains open during the lunch hour for your convenience, so just want to encourage everybody to get out and vote. The key race in Wayne County in the runoff, of course, is the Republican nomination for sheriff. 2 candidates remain. There are 4 back in, when did they vote? Back in June.
Yeah, whatever it means, changed so many times.
Back in June, back in the June 9th election. But anyway, runoff for sheriff is down to 2 candidates. We've got Sheriff John Carter and Chuck Moseley in the runoff. We got Chuck Moseley in studios with us. Chuck, how you doing today? Good to see you.
I'm blessed.
Glad to have you in here. Like I said, the early voting gets underway Monday. I'm just curious, the pandemic numbers continue to go up here in Wayne County, so more and more people are being sheltered in, shut in. So has it been tough to see people, or how, I guess the question I wanted to ask you and John, what's the most creative way to reach voters during this pandemic?
Well, if people gets the paper, they've seen I've got locations around the county that I've been going in the evenings. That way I'm not approaching anybody, but if they want to come and ask a question, I'm not scared of shaking hands or kissing or whatever, but
so you're still kissing babies?
Yes, shaking babies and kissing hands.
There you go.
And but I've got some different locations. I'll actually be in Odom this evening. I'll be at Cracker Williams Friday, and then Monday I'll be at JC Fairgrounds, and then Tuesday of next week I'll actually be at the Crossroads Church of God parking lot. And I just figured locations around the county where if people wanted to pull up and
talk to you,
ask a question or speak, and they can stop me before I ever approach their window if they want to. And I've got cold drinks and tater chips I'm giving away.
Well, we talked to you after the election back in June, and they said 2 candidates made the runoff. You were grateful to be in the runoff. So
yes, sir.
What's the strategy now since you got into the runoff? That was the plan. We talked to you before.
Yes.
That election, we said we thought it would be a runoff. The key was to be in the top 2. So you're in the top 2, so you have to feel good about that.
Well, it does. And, I mean, whenever you look at the numbers, there were 62% of the people in Wayne County that actually voted against Sheriff Carter. And I'm just trying to ask them to come back out and vote again and consider me. If they voted that way the first time, I feel like they feel like it's time for change. And I want to be their candidate. I want to be everybody's sheriff. I want them to be where they can contact me or come by the sheriff's office if I'm blessed enough to be elected and be able to sit down and speak to the sheriff. And my phone number, Lord, everybody ought to have it. I'm available, and that's what I want people to understand.
But the good news is, that with the election on August 11th, school starts August 10th, so most Wayne Countyans should be back in the county. So
yes.
If you're a registered voter, there shouldn't be any excuse not to get to the polls to vote.
all my poll sitters will be back at work. But yes, that'll be a good thing. They'll be back in town, and of course, normally in the runoffs, not quite as many people show up to vote. So I'm just begging everybody that will.
That's going to be the key. Which candidate can get their voters back to the polls.
That's right.
So they still tell that joke about the sheriff's race years ago where the sheriff lost by 3 votes and his 5 friends went fishing and said if we would have not gone fishing and voted for you, you might have won.
That's right.
So again, every vote counts. Got to make sure you get everybody out to vote.
Yes, it does. So
we talked to you also. Said you made the announcement. You had you're gonna, if you get elected, you want Mike Hargrove to be your chief deputy. You thought you made a mistake putting that out there early. Some people are asking, you're still. If you get elected, he's still going to be your chief deputy, right? You haven't changed.
I'm going to tell you, I'm scared to see anybody, Bob. But it's funny you bring that up. There was a piece in the paper yesterday, actually, that where the sheriff rescinded one of the policies that I'd found that led me in the direction that I believe that was something that could be done. And the policy actually took effect in 2005. And, of course, I understand that was whenever he took office. And it may have been in effect prior to that.
What policy are we talking about so people understand what you're saying?
The policy dealing with sworn personnel transfers, it's actually a sheriff's office policy. And in it says the deputies holding the rank of chief deputy, captain, and captain are transferred at the discretion of the sheriff and are not governed by this procedure. And it further goes to say the sheriff has the exclusive right to transfer employees within the Wayne County Sheriff's Office to accomplish the mission and goals of the Sheriff's Office in the most effective and efficient manner. And, of course, the newspapers made it clear that the sheriff's rescinded, and that's perfectly within his right. But this policy actually doesn't address, firing somebody or remove them for any other cause other than a transfer. But that policy is just one of the policies that I'd found. The lawsuits, and everybody says that it makes it plain that you can't fire them, and it does. You cannot fire them.
I think we discussed it. I mean, you can't fire somebody, but
that's right.
I still think the sheriff has the right to go in and just reassign people. But the question is, you can't. The problem is you can't lower anybody's salary.
That's right.
If you promote somebody into that position and give them that salary, the other person is going to maintain the same salary too. So that seems to be the concern that I hear from voters out there. Yeah. They don't want to pay 2 chief deputy salaries.
Well, and that would be, that would be the case. There's no getting around that. But the lawsuit that affected all of this makes it clear that the creation of a civil service system placed the employees of the sheriff's office under the county commission's policies. In that policy, it makes for allowances for transfers, and it does say pay grade after transferred. An employee who is transferred shall continue at the same rate of pay unless otherwise provided. So,
all right. So
those are the points that I wanted to. And the sad thing is the lawsuit was in 1994. This
was in 2005.
Was in 2005. It was made effective under Sheriff Carter. But now I guess I brought it to light that it was an issue.
Well, the question, people still asking me that they say if you see Chuck Moseley asking, he hasn't, because you made the statement when I interviewed you thought it was a mistake to announce it. But the question is, have you changed your mind? Is he still going to be your chief deputy if you get elected? Have you changed your stance on that?
I still think I still think it's within the policies, and like I say, I won't do anything to cost money, other than allowing a man to work another position at the pay that he's making.
I'm just trying to make it clear, though. You still, if you get elected, you still intend to bring Mike Hargrove on board.
I'm going to research it. Yes.
Okay. That's what people want me to ask. Because when you said you thought it was a mistake, then I said the question was, did you change your mind on him being your chief deputy?
That was the biggest mistake I've made in my pitiful political career right there. I should have never mentioned the chief deputy's position.
Why do you think it was such a mistake, though?
Well, it's created this fuss for everybody, and two, it's bad enough with my past to make it through an election with the things I've done, but whenever you add another man, regardless of how good he is, you bring his past into it too.
I got you.
And I'd have been wise not to have named anybody.
I got you. So again, if you just joined us, Chuck Moseley in studio with us, candidate for sheriff. Again, the runoff is set for Tuesday, August 11th. The early voting gets underway Monday, July 20th. So again, as you mentioned, there were two other candidates in the race. Paul Drawdy and Toby Cameron. They got quite a bit of number of votes. Have you reached out to those two candidates, and where do they stand on this? Have you talked to any of those?
I've reached out to them. I'd rather not say what they told me. I've had some of their voters reach out to me, and I feel good about the ones. Like I say, if they voted against John the first time, most likely that vote was a vote for change, and if that's what they want, that's what I'm bringing to the table.
Well, it's been a while since we had both you and John in. Like I said, you talked about your platform before, so I give you the opportunity again for the people listening, getting ready to go to vote beginning Monday and up until Tuesday, August 11th. Why should they vote for Chuck Moseley? What would you bring to the sheriff's office that's not there right now?
Well, first and foremost, I want to bring a fresh approach to the drug enforcement. The city and the county needs to be working together. The boundaries of the city limits and the county lines can disappear, and we can be working together to work to the goal to reduce the drugs. You won't ever do away with all of them, but you can make a dent. And I have the relationships where I could believe I can make that happen. And the truth of the matter is, whenever you change leadership, that whenever somebody's been there a long time, they can just get stagnant and not have new ideas. And I think just changing leadership, the men have done what they've been allowed to do and what's expected of them. And the last 4 or 5 months, you can see the men and women of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office know how to enforce the laws. And I just want to try to continue that in concert with the city. And I think if we're working together, we can make a difference. And the budget constraints, the overtime, like I've said before, not casting any aspersions. There will be overtime, but I think they have to be policed on a regular basis to make sure that it's not wasteful. Oversight and supervision, the reviewing the incident reports, and you have to check behind deputies. You have to trust your men, and a sheriff can't always control what his men does, but it's his job to react whenever they do something. You oversee what they do and make sure they're doing it right. If you see a problem, address it. And I think there's been some instances where that oversight hadn't quite been where it should be. School safety is another one of my platform, and I've got to get with the school board on getting school resource officers, but I do have a program in mind that I'm sure that the school board would allow, is the CHAMPS program. That's where a deputy is trained and goes into schools and talks to the fifth graders. And of course, relationships with local law enforcement. I know all the surrounding sheriffs have their personal cell phone numbers, and I've got a good working relationship with them. And the biggest thing is, a fellow told me, he said, "Son, the most important thing is drugs. And you accomplish what you think's important." And that'll be my goal. I'll be aggravating investigators all the time about the drug enforcement. I want people to be able to call and tell me something and know there'll be action taken. And we'll try to make it where that if they do call and report activities, that they'll get a call back and get told what's going on.
You've been in law enforcement a long time, and you're in another county. You've been working there. Is the drug problem as bad over there as it is here?
There's drugs everywhere, but I can tell you, over there, they they have to bounce around quite a bit. And I'm telling you, in Wayne County, whenever the ACE unit was running, they were starting to make some headway. And but I think it being dissolved hurt it. You like I say, the last year they've been doing a pretty good job, but I want it to be continuous.
Methamphetamine seems to be the big drug around this area. I mean, every time I get a report, that seems to be the drug. Why is methamphetamine such a big issue?
It's cheap and it's easy. It's easy to get. I mean, it's coming out of Mexico now, I think, majorly, but it's cheap, and Lord, it's everywhere. The thing that's surprising to me is the return of heroin. Used to didn't hardly ever hear heroin, but it's starting to make a comeback too, and that's a dangerous. Well, both of them is dangerous, but the heroin that you used to didn't see it, but it's making a comeback too. But methamphetamine's so cheap to get, and you take it and you're high for 2 or 3 days.
Man, it sure is hot right there. Out campaigning this last couple of weeks, so that's going to be tough. But you said you got several events. So people come see you. Go ahead and list those again.
Well, today I'll be in Odom. Tomorrow I'll be at Cracker Williams, and it's from 6 to 8 in the evening. I did get in the evening, but it's still hot. Bless God. Then Monday will be JC.
We were talking about the graduation. They moved it from 10 to 8, but it's still going to be hot. Yeah.
Better carry a towel with you. Whenever you put your mask on, make sure you got your towel.
Days of summer, what they call it. Yeah. It is hot.
But then Monday will be at JC Fairgrounds, just there on the hill. And what I do is I just set up a tent, let my tailgate down, and get the coolers where I can get somebody a Coke if they want one, a bag of tater chips. And then, of course, Tuesday will be the parking lot of Crossroads Church of God.
Now, I'm curious, when people come see you, what do they just ask questions, or they have concerns, or what do they say?
Well, I do get quite a few questions and concerns, and of course, there's some people just come by and stop and say, I voted for you, I'll be supporting you. God bless them. I try to kiss them every time they do. They won't let me move their mask, but I try.
Well, again, the early voting gets underway again Monday, July 20th. Runs for 3 weeks. You know if there's a Saturday in this 3 weeks? I needed to check with Susan and Tammy. Normally there's a Saturday thrown in there, but I haven't seen the Saturday day of the 3 week.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen the date either, but they usually do have a Saturday thrown in.
I mean, not many people show up. I mean, it's kind of a waste of time, but some people just need to vote on Saturday, so we'll find out if there's a Saturday in that 3 week period. But again, it does get underway on Monday, July 20th, runs through Friday, August the 7th. Again, the hours at the registrar's office, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, they do state if you're sent an absentee ballot and wish to vote in person, either during the advanced voting or at the polling place, they want you to bring that absentee ballot to the registrar's office for cancellation by August the 7th. So they state that will save time in a phone call on Election Day. Also, a reminder, this is a runoff election. Therefore, whichever party you cast your ballot on in the June 9th election will be the party you receive a ballot in for the August 11th primary. So if you voted Democratic back in June, you can't turn around and vote in the sheriff's race here in Wayne County. You still got to vote Democratic. There's a runoff that congressional seat.
Yep.
To see who's going to run against Buddy Carter in November. So that's the only runoff I know of on the Democratic ticket here in Wayne County. So there's a runoff on the Republican side, which is the sheriff's race, and a runoff on the Democratic side, which is that first congressional district seat. So, again, we wish you the best of luck, Chuck. Anything else you want to say before you leave? Like I said, we ask the question all the time when people go to vote in this runoff. Again, why should they vote for Chuck Moseley?
Well, if they want change and they want a man that knows the job, like I said in the previous election, there was 2 men that's qualified, and I've got the years of experience, over 3,700 hours of training. And if you voted for change, please come back out and vote again. If you want a sheriff that you can get in contact with and come by and see, I'm your man. I ask for your vote. And God bless you. Just come out and vote. And if you didn't vote in June, you can still vote this time.
That's exactly true. If you didn't vote at all, you can vote in the runoff. So a lot of people are confused about that. So like I said, if you're out of town, didn't vote in the June 9th election, you can vote in this runoff, and you can vote either party if you didn't vote.
Yes.
But if you did vote and you voted either Democratic, you have to pick up the same ballot that you picked up when you voted back in June. So
if you didn't vote, just be sure and get a Republican ticket and vote Chuck for change.
Okay, Chuck, it's good to see you. We appreciate you coming in.
God bless you.
We'll be back to close it out right after this.
A bank that puts people first. First Southern Bank, investing in you since 1907. Serving Jessup, Patterson, and Waycross. A true community bank led by experienced neighborhood bankers that live and work in our community. Offering competitive loan options for commercial and consumer clients. Stop by the Jessup branch and meet branch manager Mandy Yeomans and her fantastic team. Call 912-810-1540. Let First Southern Bank be your bank of choice. First Southern Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jessup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup.
Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings restaurant in Jessup is now open for business, practicing social distancing, but still serving that great food that Damon's is famous for. Come inside or come through the drive-thru, but Damon's is open inside and welcomes back its customers. The menu's the same, the service is fast, and the food is fantastic, and the sauces remain the same, mild, wild, insane, or inferno. The number is the same, 588-WING, 588-9464. Damon's Restaurant on West Cherry Street in Jessup. Dining room now open for business. Come on in and enjoy a great meal today.
Zero. You looking for zero? Well, you better get to Baxley, where zeros are all over the place. 0% for 72 months on 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokees.
And no payment for 90 days.
Yeah, man. And 2020 Ram Bighorn 1500s. Same deal. 0% for 72 months on them, too.
And no payment for a totally cool 90 days. Hey, now, that's before we talk. So talk to us about a 19 Ram Classic, up to 20% off MSRP. Get more car for your money and more money for your car at Woody Folsom, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where the summer clearance event is on like a ham bone.
Delivery is free, and so is a lifetime powertrain warranty. It's hotter than the South Georgia summer.
Red Hot Bulletin from Baxley. 19 model year, new Chrysler 300s, rolling out of here at up to $8,000 off MSRP. You looking for zero? Well, you better get to Baxley, where zeros are all over the place. 0% for 72 months on 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Chrysler Capital Financing, summer spring season policy delivered to you.
Better get to Baxley, where Rams cost less.
821 here at the Big Dog WIFO. Butch and Bob, brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings, and, of course, First Southern Bank.
Just want to remind people about tomorrow's show again. Buddy Carter was in Atlanta yesterday with the president's visit, so he's going to call in and talk to us about that. But also, in the second half of that show, Governor Kemp was in town Monday, spoke at a luncheon. We got his 16-minute speech that we want to let people hear. So that'll be the show tomorrow. We'll have Buddy Carter for the first 15 minutes and Governor Kemp's comments in the second half of the show tomorrow. So and then Monday we'll have John Carter, the incumbent sheriff, in before the early voting gets underway that Monday on July 20th. So it's here. The runoff election is right around the corner. Again, just encourage everybody to get out and vote. Like I said, if you did not vote, you can vote either party, but if you voted before, you have to vote the same party you voted on.
The dance with the one that brung you.
There you go.
What about rec ball? They're playing out there in the heat. How are they handling that?
I think they closed out the playoffs.
Did they?
This week, I think. I'm not positive. I think they're getting ready for the fall schedule.
Yeah, because it was hot out there. It's been out for like 3 weeks now. They're out there playing, though, in that heat at 5 o'clock. It's like, phew.
Glad to see the Georgia High School Association is going to let football players have helmets next week. But, again, it's still limited to 50 people at one time, so you can't have the whole team at one time. So see when they're going to lift those restrictions with the season right around the corner. Mandatory practice get underway July 27th for football, August 1st for all other fall sports. So.
And just about a week away from opening day for the Braves.
Tuesday at the Mets.
24th.
New York Mets, the 24th, yeah.
That's Friday.
Tuesday. I thought they said it was Tuesday.
No, tomorrow's the 17th, so Friday's the 24th.
Why they say Tuesday in this press release?
I don't know. Let me look at the schedule here from the Braves themselves. Magnetized all over here. It says Friday, July 24th at New York.
At New York on the 24th.
2:55 on the air, 4:10 first pitch.
So Rokas gets to start. That's a good decision.
All right.
See if Yasiel Puig's in the lineup. I'm
not a big fan, huh?
Not a big fan of Yasiel Puig.
Well, you have to, make changes when people don't want to show up and play, because Markakis is not coming this year.
He's not playing.
Now, they forfeit all their salary. Is that what happens there? How does that work?
I think that's how that works, Jonathan. I'm pretty sure. No.
Because they did get paid something up front this year.
But no play, no pay is what I understand.
Well, you would think that's how it would work. That's how it works in the real world, right?
I don't know. Some of these guys got these guaranteed contracts. You just don't know how it works. But looking forward to some baseball, a 60-game schedule. So it'll be fun to watch.
All right. Anything else we need to cover this morning?
I think that's going to do it. I said here on a Thursday. We reached another weekend tomorrow. I want to remind people about graduation again. They are going to do that if you're not able to go to the graduation, they will have it on their website, so you can watch it.
There's a link there to whatever the YouTube link is, yes.
Right, so make sure you tune in for that.
And we will have that here on WIFO as well, starting at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. So wish all the seniors well. Like I said, glad to see them having a live ceremony. Hopefully it'll go well. Hopefully it'll be maybe some Clyde cover.
We were saying the other day, probably about 1,000 to 1,200 people in the stands. Was that the number?
That's the math. If you give each student 4 guest tickets, you've got 300.
Yeah, that would be 1,200 right there. Yeah, and nobody allowed on the field at all after the ceremony. They're going to march them back out.
You got it.
All right, Bob. Well, that will wrap it up. World famous Butch and Bob Show on WIFO, brought to you this morning by Murphy Builder Supply, First Southern Bank, and Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings. Good morning from the Big Dog WIFO at 8:25.
It's not just my best life. It's my wildest life. All year, over and over. Riding, exploring, sliding,